Hey, everybody, with my friend Oakland A's President Dave Kaval on a crazy day. Dave, great to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me,
And
Zenny. Appreciate it.
let me just ask you, thank you. Dave, what the heck just happened? I mean, I know it happened because I'll be honest with you, Zach Wasserman's a friend of mine, and he assured me, I'm just going to say this publicly, and not that I was, fishing or anything like that, but I just asked him because I want you, I said, what's going to happen? He says it's a formality, it'll get passed. And I said, well, Mike Jacobs thinks it's going to go to the other way. He goes, he doesn't know shit. So, you know,
Well,
uh,
we got a no vote. Obviously it's a big setback. Whenever you have a no vote. I mean, luckily it's not a final vote, but I think the Seaport Planning and Advisory Council, their opinion weighs heavily on these BCDC commissioners because they're not experts in port operations and projections, and so if it's a no, we're going to be hard pressed to overturn that no vote, and we're going to do everything we can to do that. But I think it just brings a lot more uncertainty to the project at a time where I thought we were really building a lot of momentum.
it was 5 yeses and 4 nos and an abstention.
Yep.
And for a reason that rings out in my mind like somebody yelling in my ear, they said the port didn't get them the information they needed in a timely fashion. In fact, they said they've been requesting it and still didn't get it. It took them a long time. They said the port. They didn't say anything about the athletics. They said the port. Do you know anything about what was going on there?
No, that was all news to me. That was the first time I had heard any of those things. And, obviously we've supported all these processes by, underwriting all these different reports, the Tioga report, the Mercator report, the staff time. We're even funding the entire Seaport Plan amendment, even beyond Howard. We've decided to, help them get that accomplished. And so, we're being a really good community partner here. And all we're asking for is a fair shake in terms of understanding whether or not this parcel is needed for maritime use. And I think what they kind of said today is they'd rather have a parking lot with maybe in the future something might be needed, but we can't be sure, instead of this incredible transformative waterfront ballpark and housing units. I mean, give me a break. I mean, that's really it's really a tragedy that here in the Bay Area that we're forced to make those kind of trade-offs because people need housing. The A's need a stadium. People need jobs. And I feel that all these interlocking levels of approvals and, items that I think are well-intended, it's kind of like the CEQA situation with University of California. It's no different. There's good intentions with a lot of these things, but in practice, they are holding back our communities. And I think they've really put this project in great, great jeopardy.
Before I go off on my own personal little rant, what's the next step for you?
Well, we're going to have to spend a lot of time lobbying and working with all the BCDC commissioners. And these are the mayors or city council members of all the communities that abut the Bay. Whether it's Newark, California, or Redwood City, or South San Francisco, or Richmond. And we're going to have to sit down with all those people. It's a huge undertaking. And I know the mayor will be supportive. Libby will be supportive. But even with that, there's no guarantee it's going to be a yes vote. So it's going to be a tough, tough battle.
I don't know if you heard her statement, but I'll read it to you right now. It's from Justin Burton Bixley. He says, please attribute this to Justin Burton, the spokesperson for the mayor's office. Quote, a public process is a lengthy, thorough, and transparent process, and today's advisory committee delivered important feedback as this project moves forward. We believe the Port of Oakland and its leadership knows its capacity best, and we agree with their detailed analysis that shows they can continue to thrive and grow port activities well into the future, as well as support a transformational, world-class development that will open 18 acres of public parks along the waterfront and create more affordable housing and thousands of great union jobs for the region. What do you think about that?
Well, I think all those things are true. And I'm hopeful that, folks don't lose the forest through the trees here and realize that this is a once-a-generational opportunity. And if it gets voted down, it's not like 5 more of these opportunities are coming behind it. And it will forever change the trajectory of Oakland, of the East Bay. And it'll mean that the A's are not in our community, which I think would be very sad. So we continue to fight the good fight and try to get the approvals. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a decision of these public policymakers. And I just hope they make the right decision.
What I find bothersome about that statement is it's left out. I mean, you know what I'm about to say, I think, because I think we know each other well enough to figure out what I'm about to say. Ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She doesn't mention ballpark or the athletics. I mean, I could apply that to anything. I could put, John Portman's Hyatt Regency and say, oh, we're going to rebuild it there, but not use that term and make that what she sent out apply to that, or what Justin sent out apply to that. Maybe Justin shouldn't have sent it out. Just saying.
Well, I think that's one challenge we've faced over the years is that some people don't view the ballpark as a community benefit. I feel strongly that having a baseball team and all the benefits it brings, whether it's jobs or civic pride or, just the sense of community or bringing people together across socioeconomic lines. These are very important things for the fabric of a society. They're needed. And, that is a community benefit in itself. And I am not shy about stating those things as facts. And I know you agree with me, and we'll continue to advocate for that because it's just, I think, a truth.
What I find troublesome, first of all, a little housekeeping that we've discussed before. Have you received that dollar amount for tax increment financing subsidy?
No, but I have a call tomorrow where I may find out. So at least I have a scheduled call. Don't hold your breath, but I'm hopeful that it comes soon because that is critical to understanding, if there's a gap or how things are working on the financing side of the city.
But unfortunately, let's do a little, house cleaning. We were supposed to get that package 2 months ago, right?
At least maybe 4 months, actually. Months ago.
Really, technically, a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I remember when you and I talked to open this year, you were under the impression that was going to come that week.
I was.
Okay, so with that question, how is Las Vegas coming?
Well, we're on the parallel path. And this setback today is exactly why we're on a parallel path. Because, we can't be certain that we're going to be able to get these approvals in Oakland, despite the fact that I think we put together a really incredible project and we're willing to spend billions of private capital. We are making progress in the desert. We have 5 sites in and around the resort corridor. We just made an offer on another property over the last week, and progress is being made. We're close to having a final site, and that will enable us to go back to the elected officials down there in Nevada to talk about a public-private partnership, similar to what they did with the Raiders. And so momentum is building. It's a get to yes kind of community. And, for us, at the end of the day, we have to have somewhere to play. We can no longer just go sideways in the Coliseum. It's not a tenable option.
With respect to public-private, what bothers me, David, I want your comment on this to lead up to answering the question, where are you all in the case of Las Vegas in terms of what that public-private partnership might look like? But what I find bothersome is this idea that public subsidies are bad because what it's producing in our society are private operations that are in increasing number of cases are too expensive for the general public to even visit.
That's
right?
true. That's true. So then they're not a civic asset. That's a major problem.
Right.
Yeah. I agree.
Sound the alarm and say, okay, enough of this because it's going the wrong way and it's actually not producing the kind of society we want. When do we start throwing punches? I'm just saying.
Maybe the pendulum is starting to swing. I don't know. I think, there's often groupthink in these governmental agencies and bodies and elected officials. And until the population and voters speak up, they don't change their point of view. And so maybe that will happen soon. I hope it does. I think our community sorely needs places to gather, safe places, and have shared experiences and, just celebrate. We've had a hard couple of years with the pandemic and all these things that are happening. And so you want baseball or sports to be a refuge and somewhere that folks can really enjoy spending time. And we're hopeful that can be us at the waterfront in Oakland, and we're going to continue to work hard to do that. But we also know that we need a parallel path because nothing is totally certain.
Does the city understand, and the county and the region understand? There's also a large-scale event center that can be used, like Pat Gallagher used Giant Stadium and created a great model for that. which reminds me of a phone call I'm supposed to make. But
yeah, Giants Enterprises. Yeah, there's going to be hundreds of other events. And I think that's going to be incredible for the community. And, it'll create Oakland as a destination and will support things like hotels and probably allow for the building of new hotels. Our plan has a hotel in it, but there could be even additional hotels. And then you bring in all the tourist dollars, which is very accretive. It gives a stronger tax basis, allows for additional investments in things like transportation and public safety and homelessness and all the things that our community needs. So this can be an economic engine, Zenny, as you know.
And it's not that you were opposed to affordable housing, but I think the model you all prefer, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't mean to negotiate, put you in a bad position, but the idea that you would need help subsidizing that just to make it more affordable to build, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the challenge with affordable housing is, we are going to have a robust affordable housing plan as part of the ballpark, period. We've agreed with that and what we've sent the city. And I think some of it is, getting to something that will add units, meaningful numbers, but also still enable the project to be built. Because you don't want such a high number and then nothing is built. Because if nothing is built, then there's no tax increment.
Right.
So there's a lot of issues about like making sure that you have a viable project. Because if you have 100% of zero, it's still zero.
I think the biggest problem, having been involved in this for maybe too long now, because I'll be 60 this year, is that there used to be that people understood gap financing. We're giving you a subsidy. You're a billionaire. Fine. Great. That means you have the capital to back it. Okay. We're giving you gap financing because we want to make sure it pencils out. The project pays for itself. Today, we have a society that says, well, we assume that because you're a billionaire, it doesn't matter to you.
Right.
Which is crazy. Okay. I'm not expecting you to answer that for yourself, but I'm just simply saying, Dave, that kind of thinking, and I've told people this again and again and again, is producing a society that's putting people on the street because it's producing these public projects that have a market rate level because no one wants, public financing involved in them. And that's why I'm saying that, we're at a crisis point with this kind of development. People might think they're winning, or actually, I feel like we're losing. Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, I think our project is a litmus test. And I think we stand at a crossroads in Oakland, in our community, even in the Bay Area at large. I mean, it's an example of what our project is just very big. So you see it in the news and everything like that. But these issues are facing all the communities in the Bay Area or even California. And we just have to decide as an electorate what direction we want to go. Because at the end of the day, the people should decide. And hopefully it's a direction that enables more progress and, more development in a responsible way. I think that would be the approach we would want to take. That's what we've advanced. And we're hopeful that it gets approved.
Now, right now in the Las Vegas province, there's no pretty picture for us to that will really change the game once it's produced. When do you see that happening?
Well, the architect's already working on it. It just hasn't been released. So we have our architect group. We have BRK Ingalls and, Brad Schrock, who's our in-house architect. And, I've seen things, but it's not ready to be public yet because we haven't finalized the location. So, but it's not far away, Zenny. And, we've been spending a lot of time on Oakland. We're spending time in Vegas too. But, we're going to have to redouble our efforts in both locations because last time I checked, it's already March and, we still don't have any binding agreements.
I find it concerning that right now it seems like there's no czar for this project other than yourself, but there's no czar on the city side. And that, and I'm just saying this directly to the mayor, the mayor really needs to either be that person or appoint a person or get a group of business people together because it's crunch time. And I don't know. It seems like we're coming up to this point that you and I talked about before where, hey, she's out, okay, and we have politics taking over. Where are we now because this feels like DEF CON to me, okay? I didn't expect this. I thought this was not going to happen, and it did. And the reasons, I think, are point to not having an advocate other than yourself. Which is
I mean, we're doing the best we can, but I'm only one person. I got a great organization, but it's going to take everyone to make this happen. And I think the mayor has done an incredible job of getting us to this point, and she's advocating, obviously. But, we're just going to need everyone, all hands on deck, like you said, Zenny, to get this across the finish line. And this is the most mission critical time. Any more of these no votes, and then just the project will be dead, which would be really tragic.
Have you talked to Rob Manfred about this yet? Because that's the other voice that I fear.
I update the commissioner basically weekly on everything, and so we have a call tomorrow, so he'll get a full update. So obviously, progress is the most important thing that the league wants to see, whether it's in Vegas or in Oakland, and we have to do everything that we can to continue to advance that forward. And like I said, we haven't given up, but it's a real setback. We have to acknowledge what it means, and it further emphasizes the fact that until the project is fully approved, it's not done.
Let me ask you, whatever happened to Portland? Because Portland at first was here. They had a mock-up, look at everything was moving in one direction. Then, but does that mean that Portland is gone entirely? Vegas is there? What happens if Vegas doesn't work out? Or are we not at a point where Vegas is definitely going to work out if this doesn't work?
The league's been really clear that, they wanted to see the parallel paths, like two markets really investigated and advanced on a real meaningful way. And that's what we're doing. And so I think that's the approach today. Obviously, that could change in the future if one of the markets faltered. But I think we'll continue on that path, for the foreseeable future.
And lastly, out of respect for your time, because I know I feel that thing in you that says I got to get going. But the lockout, this has been in my mind for some time. The lockout produces an idea for me that there is an ideal place you want to be revenue-wise, but if you're not there, there's certain places you have to cut back. To what degree does that impact the stadium progress? That does make you say, well, I need to spend more time in Oakland because I have that versus Las Vegas, which is just starting? Is there that kind of matrix involved? Or not?
I don't think that's playing into it that much. I mean, we're taking a much longer term view. Zenny, that'd be more of like a medium or shorter term view to just make sure we have a home that is financially responsible to build, that can be supported with the fan base, and that can ensure that we have, more World Series championships, which is what we want. We can hold on to our players. We can reinvest. And that's only going to come with being a much larger revenue club. And we can't do that in our current confines.
What's your message to A's fans going out?
Hang in there. It's been a tough couple of days, for all of us. And, whether it's the player moves or a no vote here, but we're still fighting, and we're doing what we can to advance the ball forward. And we'll do everything we can in our power to get this project approved. And actually, I think more than anything, I feel a great amount of obligation to just once and for all solve this, figure out where this team is going to be in a new venue in a successful way. And it's time. It's been 25 years. I owe it to everyone involved to get to that point.
As Alistair says, please stay in Oakland. I couldn't say it better myself. But we know what you got to do. Dave, stick around in the background. Folks, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll see you later tonight, and more soon. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark OaklandNewsNowBlog.com. Newly refurbished website. I'm very proud.